Authorities and the Democrats on the House Intel Committee are getting ready to force a vote on the memo that they say will disprove allegations put out by their Republican counterparts. It is the very memo that President Trump says vindicates him in the Russia investigation. Let's bring in Democratic Congressman André Carson of Indiana. He is a member of the House Intelligence Committee. Sir, thank you so much for joining me. I'm curious, first off, what did you think when you saw that tweet yesterday?
Well, you know, I'm always disappointed. I've been disappointed lately when I see our president, who could be talking far more about unity and bringing the parties together and investing in infrastructure, given his background as a developer. Instead, he wants to be provocative. He wants to get attention. He has this need. I'd rather see him comb through his briefing book than to make these outrageous statements seeking to get attention. Listen, we're living in critical times right now, and the Intelligence Committee is one of the few committees in Congress that is truly bipartisan to its core, or historically has been bipartisan. I'm disappointed that the Republican leadership has refused to work with Ranking Member Schiff and Democrats in making sure that we're keeping our national security apparatus safe and sound, and we're protecting the lives of Americans.
I want to look at what House Judiciary Ranking Member Jerry Nadler said in his own memo yesterday. It had 4 very key points, but combined together, it essentially says, sir, that this first memo is misleading, deliberately so. What should we expect to learn from your committee's memo, and how confident are you that it will come out?
Well, Jerry is certainly a scholar in his own right. You know, the memo is misleading. It's very disappointing. I think the Democratic memo adds a bit of balance to the Republican memo. You know, I think that it's important to note that the Republican objective, especially in an election year where they're, quite frankly, worried about keeping the Congress, they're attempting to trivialize and even minimize this document, this investigation, to look like nothing more than opposition research. And I think it's important for voters, I think it's important for constituents and Americans to know what is really taking place. And what is taking place right now is embarrassing, it's unfortunate, but there are good folks in Congress who are working hard on behalf of the American people to make sure that those in the Department of Justice and the FBI and our law enforcement community are doing the job that they have sworn to do, and that they're protected, and they have the backing of folks like me and others in Congress who want to see them do a good job.
Well, I want to play for you what your fellow Republican committee member Will Hurd said in an interview this morning. Let's take a listen to that.
You voted against releasing the Democratic memo. Why?
There was information in there that I did believe led to erosion of national security. There was some references to ongoing intelligence operations. I believe they're working through that, and it's going to, and we're going to vote on it.
Why not wait until that was scrubbed the same way the Republican memo was scrubbed, so they could both be put out at the same time?
Well, the information wasn't ready to go, and so we decided to release ours. People can criticize that decision.
Are there things in the Democratic memo that need to be cleaned up, scrubbed, as Stephanopoulos put it?
You know, I wouldn't go that far. I think the memo, I've read the memo. The memo was very well written and put together. I think it provides context. I think it provides deeper insights and ultimately balance to the Republican memo. I think the objective here is that going forward, we need to make sure that Speaker Ryan and Chairman Nunez aren't putting their personal political interests in front of the committee's interests, in front of our national security interest. And those Democrats on the committee, myself included, are working hard with Republicans on the committee and staffers on both sides of the aisle who really love this committee. We take the committee work very seriously, and we want to make sure we're doing the work on behalf of the American people. We cannot let political ambition trump the needs of Americans.
Is there anything in the Democratic memo that you've read that you think is a challenge to national security, endangers it, puts it in a compromising position in any way?
Not at all. I think it supports our national security apparatus, and again, it provides insights and confirmation to what we've been saying all along.
All right, quickly I want to play for you what the president's eldest son, Donald Trump Jr., said in an interview last night. Here's that.
No one else could get away with this other than the Obama administration, and this is why it's clear. They weaponized the FBI and the DOJ to attack the duly elected President of the United States.
Are you at all surprised, sir, that President Trump and his allies are continuing to make these kinds of comments, given this very dramatic way in which the special counsel's investigation is progressing?
No. Again, I think this is an attempt to trivialize and minimize the investigation. It's to thwart Director Mueller's efforts. He's an accomplished investigator. You know, I have great respect for him. And, you know, I think these kinds of attempts are really to preserve the mythology of President Trump trying to make America great again. But in fact, they criticize the Obama administration for using these agencies to weaponize information. But I think that they're trying to use Congress to weaponize the information to change the hearts and minds of the American people in their favor for 2018. It's unfortunate.
Louisiana Democratic Congressman André Carson, thank you so much for your time, sir.
What an honor. Thank you. The great Hoosier State.
Well, the great Hoosier State. I mean, honestly, I've made a mistake twice this weekend. I'm going to actually study
It's Sunday.
my map.
Super Bowl Sunday. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but I haven't started drinking the beer yet, so I have no excuse. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
President Trump calls the FBI a tool of his opponents. Two former intelligence officials are weighing in next.